All right, this is part two. This is part two. Understanding the baby boomers dynasty and the silent generation dynasty. Okay. This video is going to be about the tragedy that happened, the tragic separation that happened, splitting one part of the African American community with the silent generation dynasty, and the tragedy being that the baby boomer dynasty took the other part of the African American or black community. There's two parts. There's only two parts. The silent generation dynasty and the baby boomers generation dynasty. We're talking about black people on this part, because we established we're talking about black people's dynasties, not American dynasties. We're talking about specifically black generations in black dynasties, right? So we established that the silent generation dynasty is the dynasty to go with. It's the generation that produced Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's the silent generation dynasty. And it's not trickery with words. It may sound, in our culture, we're so used to hearing, good punchlines, good, rap lines, and this might sound like some colorful stuff I just made up, or something that just sound interesting and sound cool. That's not what it is. Like, I don't make unicorns out of information. I don't make unicorns out of knowledge. This is not what I'm doing. In other words, I'm not creating these colorful illusions or even ideals where it don't really, as far as my information, it don't really connect to this community, right? This information, listen very closely, this information is the reality of only two categories of people in America that's black. You either fall under one or two dynasties, the first or the second dynasty, the silent generation dynasty or the baby boomers generation dynasty. Okay? And you have to understand that we can't have our cake and eat it too. We either are going, you heard that beeping, right? Trying to be a trigger. That wasn't, listen, it don't work, man. Listen, we're too sharp for that. Our mind is always going to be in the right place. Are we going to be aware of things or ponder things? Of course we're going to ponder things and be aware of things, but smart people are going to choose the right thoughts, the right perspective, ultimately. But then we expose the novice trying to trigger, right? Yeah, come on, stop playing with me, buddy. See, what you gonna understand as the gang stalkers on the outside, these telepath and mind readers, is you're irrelevant. And the more we move forward into the future, you are irrelevant as mind readers and psychics and telepaths, because you ain't gonna have no effect on physical wars and physical battles. Where you gonna be at as a mind reader? Nowhere. You're gonna be a civilian. And because you didn't build yourself up, guess what's gonna happen to you? You're gonna be a casualty. After that, after being a civilian, you're gonna become a casualty. Well, you still got the C on there. You still got the C on there. You went from civilian to casualty. You still got the C. You saved the C, but you didn't save yourself. You should have saved yourself, buddy. Stop playing with real senseis, buddy. Stop Stop playing with the real senseis. All you're going to have left is a C. You're already a civilian. You know what you're going to have left? Only a C for casualty. Well, you'll have the other casualty part. You'll have the casualty part, but you're only going to have the C from the beginning. For the beginning, you're going to keep the C. That's all you're going to keep from the beginning. Listen, man, listen. You're going to go from civilian to casualty. Playing with senseis and playing with us like we are just random people. Random black people, random Americans. And see, in your arrogance of who America is, you might think you can do it. Well, we Americans, we can do it. Okay. See, the clash is also, listen, man, you see, I go to 0 to 100 real quick when I sense a fool playing with me. You got to understand something. This war is between us and the kingdom of God against the Americans because of the arrogance of the Americans. Okay? The arrogance made them think they can play with us. Like I'm a church boy. Do you see me going to church? No disrespect to people that go to church, but you know the stereotypical image of them thinking people church boys, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Don't play stupid. Don't be so smart you're stupid. You know what I'm talking about, right? Do I look like a church boy to you? When I'm breaking down generations of African Americans, do I look like I'm playing with you or playing with this community? When you can't even talk intelligently about generations of African Americans or generation of Americans. See, I'm preserved in the last days. You know why? I'm preserved through my intellectual property and my spirituality and my connection with God. A telepath mind reader ain't going nowhere. Listen, in the future, you ain't gonna be nothing. These gang stalkers in the future, you're not gonna be nothing. Or where you gonna come in when it comes to this real war going on? Because we know you cowards. You know, listen, I've been on the streets 1,000,000 times and you ain't do nothing. You ain't do nothing no time. Let's talk about it. You ain't do nothing every time I was on the streets. You ain't do nothing to me. Do y'all see any, look, do you see my arms? Any marks on my arms? Anything? Look. You see anything on my arms or anything? You see any significant scars on my body? Or my face? You see anything going on? No, you don't. Listen, man, listen. I went through the streets with these gang stalkers. This is for the gang stalking community, the targeted individuals. These people are cowards. I went through the streets, they did nothing. So we ain't gonna let them post up like they against us, like they military, like they going to war with us. In a G.I. Joe world, in G.I. Joe world, you going to war. I'm going to war in the real world. We got real casualties. We making our enemies suffer real casualties. Just in case you thought I was playing. You a Tonka head, you a big head Tonka head, little toddler like white boy. Got the head of a Tonka truck. You remember them Tonka dump trucks? The back of his head look like a Tonka dump truck. These white dudes who think they military, man, listen. These psychological telepath, your head, the back of your head is like a Tonka truck, a Tonka dump truck. I'm pretty sure you know what it was. You grew up with it, didn't you? You grew up with it, didn't you? You grew up with them Tonka trucks, didn't you? We never had one. We never could afford it properly. You had 3 of them, didn't you? You had 3 Tonka trucks, didn't you? That's why your head turned out like one. You played with it so much, your head turned out like a Tonka truck, didn't it? Hey, man, listen. Let me tell you something. Telepaths and psychics is not going no further into the future. I told you must have thought I was playing because I'm making gang stalking messages, helping my gang stalking targeted individual community, because I see that they need guidance, they need insight, right? They need, if not anything else, they need camaraderie. They need people that understand that I'm going through the same thing. But other than that, man, in 2026, you are irrelevant as a community. Ain't nobody worried to study no mind readers and telepaths. That's 10 years ago, basically. That's basically 10 years ago. We don't care nothing about that. You know what we care about? Real time, real wars popping off. Iran, all these wars in Iran, Iran out there in the middle, in Russia with the Ukrainians and all of that stuff going on. See, the World War III is already set up, buddy. It's already set up. You got wars in what you need to make World War III is wars in only two situations: wars in Europe and wars in the Middle East, and it's already going on. That's 7 hours. You got wars in Europe and you got wars in the Middle East. That's all you need. Let me help y'all understand something. For the novice that don't understand nothing, listen, World War III for dummies, right? 101, let's put it more nice. Let's be more nice. 101 for World War III is this. You only need wars in Europe and the Middle East. That's it, buddy. I don't need wars in Africa. I don't need wars in South America. Oh, I need wars in South America to start World War III. Make it make sense, buddy. I need wars in Africa to start World War III. Not necessarily. But you do need wars in Europe and you do need wars in the Middle East to start World War III. We ain't talking about World War II. World War III, all you need is already going on right now. What we need to start World War III, let's review. You need wars in Europe and you need wars in the Middle East, and that's all you need. So for you as mind readers and telepaths and psychics, you ain't gonna where you gonna be in World War III? That's what you need to ask yourself. Ask yourself, where you gonna be in World War III as a mind reader? You know where you're gonna be? You're gonna be a casualty. You're gonna be a civilian casualty. That's what you're gonna be. Mind reading and ain't preparing yourself for World War III. Psychics and ain't preparing yourself for World War III. That whole community of people like that ain't gonna be. You know what you're gonna turn to? You thought you was gonna turn into a butterfly, didn't you? You thought you was gonna turn into a butterfly, didn't you? You thought you was gonna turn into a butterfly, didn't you? Well, you're not gonna turn into a butterfly. You know what you're gonna turn into? A casualty. A civilian that is not preparing for what we see is going to be a casualty. So the point is, we ain't worried about you mind reading and triggering. Man, listen, man, you should have been doing what you was doing 30, 45 years ago. You should have been doing what you were doing when I was born 45 years ago. Ain't nobody worried about no mind reading. Where you going to be? Where you going to be is what I'm trying to see. I'm going to be a high intellectual, highbrow, a brain that people preserve. They preserve me because of my intellectual property. They preserve me because of my spirituality and connection with God. Hallelujah. That's the two reasons I'm being preserved. Intellectual property. Progressive intellectual property. Where you can't make it up. Prophecies. That might most likely. But definitely intellectual progressive property. Prophecies. That's totally credible. If you don't know my prophecies, I prophesied 5 months before COVID-19. So it's just a coincidence that I happen to have a relationship with God and God gave me a prophecy 5 months before COVID. That's just a coincidence. Anybody with a brain know, anybody with a spiritual brain, spiritual common sense, they got spiritual common sense, know better than that. That's why I'm credible as far as prophecy. 5 months before COVID-19, the biggest COVID was to the community, the whole international community. And I just happened to get a prophecy. Come on, man, you can't make that kind of stuff up, man. You can't. I had no outer awareness or information that I would have known anything was coming to this whole community. And it has never been right since. If you don't know, 143 people are still dying from COVID every week. Every week. Right? Every week, 143 people are dying from COVID. Oh, go check. You can go check behind me. Remember that. You can go check behind me on anything I'm talking about. We do not we do not walk on the same levels as a mind reader. We do not walk on the same level as a civilian casualty telepath waiting to be a civilian casualty. We believe in carrying arms. We believe in packing guns. We believe in protecting ourselves. And we also believe in protecting our families and killing you if we got to. If I got to, you'll be dead. If I got to, they will be dead. How about that, buddy? Think I'm playing? I'm not. I'm not playing at all. Okay? Well, listen. Hey. I told you I'm a sensei. I know when I'm being attacked. And every time I'm going to give it right back to you. I'm going to let you know what you're playing with, in other words. I'm going to let you know what you're playing with. Because, see, just like I figured, people see me over here in this neighborhood right here, and you seen that my family's over here, you might assumed I grew up here. I came here when I was 17. I was almost a grown man when I came here. I grew up in the ghetto. I didn't grow up here, right? I moved to Los Angeles when I was 20 years old. I done lived in Los Angeles. I done lived in Brooklyn, New York, right? So how you gonna size me up based on this neighborhood? That's why you can't do it. That's why you played yourself. I done been around to so much stuff, man, you wouldn't even believe it, man. You wouldn't even believe what I'm telling you. You would think I'm exaggerating or fabricating the situation. Listen, man, let me tell you something. The most dangerous man I ever been around was a hitman for the mafia. I've been around a hitman for the Italian mafia. That's the most dangerous person I ever been around in my life. Went city to city killing people. Can't make it up. That's why I am a righteous man, right? But you can see how I can talk to all these type of people, right? But that's why. Now you go talk to these other people that's out here now, these corny people that's out here now. They think they everything. They think they the hottest thing since sliced bread, right? Let me tell you something, man. You are not the most dangerous person I ever met. You know the most dangerous person I ever met in my life is a hitman for the mafia, the Italian mafia, right? Oh, there's different types of a mafia. Just represents in modern day time any ethnicity in a particular dominant community of a certain ethnicity that's getting the lion's share of the criminal underworld profits. That's the mafia. A mafia of any country is the ones that's getting the lion's share of the underworld community in the criminal underworld. That's any country. You got the Russian mafia. All that is Russians that's getting the lion's share in the criminal underworld. That's all it is these days. So that's why I differentiated and said the Italian mafia. Right? Okay, so understand that. Did me and him did I do crimes with this person? No, but that's the most dangerous person I've been around. I want you to ponder that. I've also been around military that have done real tours. I've been around a person that did tours in Vietnam, right? That's the second dangerous person I've been around. I've been around a person that done tours in Iraq. I've been around a handful of, I've lived with military. I've lived with people that were military more than one time. I've lived with military more than one time. So listen, hold up. Let's slow down right there. Because I think that you think that I'm a cartoon. I think you think I'm somebody to play with. I told you, listen, I've lived with military, right? A clown is only going to ignore that information. That defines my authenticity. That authenticates me. You think you're going to just live with military and you a clown? Man, they senseis. They sit up like senseis. If you're smart, you know what it means. If you already know what it means if I told you I live with military. You already know what it means if I told you I was around a hitman for the mafia. You can't be no clown being around them type of people. You can't be. That's why, man, listen. when you talk about the streets, I have graduated the streets. I've been around more dangerous people than the streets, man. You know what's more dangerous than thugs and gangsters? You know what's more dangerous than these so-called gangbangers and all of this? You know what's more dangerous than these average people out here that saying they you know, they're a threat or whatever. They insinuating they're a threat. People that have done tours and killed people. I've lived with military that done real tours. That's no lie. God knows I have. So then, you know, playing with me is not the game you want to play. Okay? You could take your chances. Listen, with a dangerous person can't never tell you what they're going to do. I can't tell you what I'll do. That's why you beware of a dangerous person. I can't tell you what I'll do to you. That's why you shouldn't play with me. Think I'm playing if you want to, man. No, you got to interject that, man, to get these lames out the way, man, because you know what? Y'all all on the internet, y'all all in the culture, and you think you part of the streets, and you not. You think you part of the mentality of the streets because you got that stuff down pat because you listen to these rappers. These rappers ain't technically been in the streets for 20, 30 years. They might have been around street people, but they ain't been on ground level in 20, 30 years in the streets. I just left the streets. That's all I'm saying. You got this commercial brand of the streets now. You got commercial brands of the streets. This is not commercial brands of the streets. I talk only on ground level from what I seen and what I see. I ain't talking from something what I seen on the internet. I ain't talking about something I seen in these videos. I ain't talking on something, you know what I'm saying, as a rapper, and I ain't been in the streets in 20 and 30 years on ground level. See, a rapper ain't gonna never be down and dealing with the same things we dealing with no more. They ain't gonna deal with the same things we deal with. People trying them on these levels like they try us. They ain't gonna be dealing with that. They ain't gonna be dealing with that at all. Me and you are. And therefore, listen, you listening to a mentality that's been around people that like, you know, that people like to play in my face, and I'm not playing any games with these people. Before I catch a charge, I'd rather move on. And see, it's cool to be a street person. It's cool to be a stepper. It's cool to be a driller, and it's cool to be doing drill and all of this. Now it's cool to be doing all that stuff. So some of these little corny people ain't even just white people no more. It used to be. It's black people that, you know, all out here in the streets, you know what I'm saying, thinking you could see me, man. Listen, please, man, listen. At the end of the day, I know how to play chess. See, that's the next level of understanding the streets. I know how to play chess, and you don't. Guess what? I know how to play chess in the streets, and you still die without me touching them. See, that's the higher level of you see what I'm saying? That's the higher level of the streets, where we showed that you deserve to die for being out here gang stalking, playing with good people. Out here gang stalking, you deserve to die. Ain't nobody playing no cartoon G.I. Joe games. I don't know what you own. You know what I'm on? Do you see what I'm on? This is real street mentality. Put it to the test. You know how you put it to the test? Intellectually put it to the test. I'm gonna show you rules. I'm gonna show you rules and regulations. I'm gonna show you rules and regulations. It's one thing to be violent. It's another thing to show people rules and regulations. That's 7 out. Show us rules and regulations. I can show you all rules and regulations. I ain't talking about literally all of them, but I can show you ground level. Like I said, I've been on ground level. I can show you ground level, everyday rules and regulations of how this supposed to go out here. And being that you played with us and you gang stalked us, listen, man, you good as dead. You good as dead for gang stalking us. Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around that. So these Tonka head truck white boys that come out here playing with us, you need to be informed, buddy. We don't care if you're OGs. We don't care what you done. You listen, by rules and regulations, you good as dead, buddy. And that's it. Listen, you could be tougher than me. You could be badder than me. You could be realer than me. You still dead by rules and regulations. And that's how you play chess. Oh, you could be tougher than me, but by rules and regulations, you dead. Boom. That's 7 out. Well, yeah, hey. Many times, people have died at the hands of people that's less tougher than them. So for all these black folks, for all these police and military that think you tougher than me, hey, maybe you are. Maybe you are. That's me being humble. Maybe you are. Maybe you are tougher than me. But you dead as far as rules and regulations of the jungle. And that's the end of your story for those who gang stalked me. And you could be bad, you could be the toughest in town, but you know what gets it done? Rules and regulations. You see how important rules and regulations? See, just admit it, I gave you game, right? Where every time it doesn't matter if you the toughest guy in town. You know what matters more? If you violate rules and regulations in the real world in physical time while you stuck in psychology. I'm talking about real stuff in real time in the real world. When those things are violated, you can't make it. You can't go out here and make it. They can't go out there and make it. That's why the secret societies are suffering right now. You know why you're suffering? Because you can't make it in the streets. Everybody know what you did to the prophet. Everybody know what y'all did. Now you can't make it. That's rules and regulations. I ain't have to touch you. I ain't have to do nothing to you. Did I have to do something to you? No. You got destroyed by rules and regulations. That's why they ain't got no credibility. You know why you ain't got no credibility? You know why you struggling in the street? Rules and regulations. You ain't gonna get past it. They ain't gonna let you get past it. And God ain't gonna let you. Listen, you can't get past God rules and regulations, can you? No. That's 7 out. You can't get past God rules and regulations. How you gonna get past God rules and regulations? So if you do, by a fluke, happen to get past rules and regulations in the streets, guess what? You ain't gonna get past God rules and regulations. All these gang stalkers, all these mind readers, let me tell you something. You ain't gonna get past God's rules and regulations. All we need to start World War III is already in place. All we need is Europe, and all we need is the Middle East, and it's already going down. See, these stupid Americans didn't even realize what was forming. What was forming is World War III. And ultimately, man, listen, in my perspective, I am satisfied that this is happening because of all the gang stalking, and World War III is going to shut all this whole circus down. All this monkey business is going to get shut down by World War III. And it's already conjuring up. It's already simmering and brewing. Brewing is the word I was looking for. It's already brewing. World War III is already brewing. All that needs to happen is Europe and Middle East, and it's already brewing, buddy. See, this is what happens when you play with a black man. A black man, listen, you push me too far, especially if I ain't got no money. Listen, we don't care about the world going on. We don't care about this going on any further. For what? We ain't never have nothing. We ain't never get nothing. Why we care about this world going on? For what? I don't care about this world going on. And I'm not depressed. I'm not suicidal. I'm not homicidal. I'm not none of that. You know, it's just the path of most black people. We don't care if this goes on or not. And I'm still the righteous African. See, I'm showing you how it looks. This is how the righteous African carry themselves. Am I nice? I don't know about that. But I'm a good person. I'm a righteous person. Am I nice? I don't know. You tell me what nice is so I can see if I am. But I'm a good-hearted person. I'm a good person. See, that's what a man gonna tell you. I mean, am I nice? I don't know about being nice. But I'm a good person. I'm a righteous person. I'm gonna do the right thing ultimately. More times than not, I'm gonna do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's what matters besides a certain mood or behavior. That's what a man gonna tell you. Besides the average mood and behavior, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna do good. I'm gonna do good in the end. But why the punks out there, you know what a punk is focused on? My attitude. A punk is focused on my behavior. How a real man is looking at ultimately what I do and I don't do. What good I do and what good I don't do, right? That part. That's it. That's all, man. You know, so there's two dynasties. This is all important because you need to see how a righteous man express himself in these situations. So you don't think I'm some Ned Flanders character. No, I'm not. I'm at war with these people that's playing games, these telepaths, these psychics, and these little bastards out here playing games. Listen, man. You ain't going no further into the future, and I want you to know that as a community of telepaths and psychic. Now, they can try to act innocent, but you wasn't. It's just like coming out here, a buster come out here playing in the streets. Okay, you got like, you know, you was playing video games at home, but you wasn't. You came out here in the streets. What's the difference between a telepath coming out here and you don't think nothing gonna happen to you? Now they want to post up like, well, we was playing Xbox. I like 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 Expo. You like Expo, don't you? He done slanged it like a nerd. I like Expo. I like Expo. I like Expo. You like Expo, don't you? Listen, man, listen. We have to regulate. We can't let the world die with these clowns and these bastards out here acting like they the streets out there in this community, gang stalking us. White women saying something out of term. I had a white woman say something out of term to me. White woman now. She talking out of term. What make her think she can do that? The mentality that in America, it don't really matter if it's a black man that you're doing it to. Listen, that's what it is. That's what it is. I had to step to that same white community. I had to, by myself. I stepped to them white folks to let them white folks know, listen, man, let me tell you something. I just came from Brooklyn. New York. And I'm originally from West Charlotte, right? How in the world you think this is how I confronted them. How in the world you playing with me? Basically, that's what I'm saying. She ain't say nothing. They ain't say nothing. And then the rest of my time over there, listen, they said nothing. See, that's confronting people as a man. But when a black man do it, it's gangster. I gotta be a thug. Nah, I'm a man. See, I can show you how to check people as a man. I can show you how to see. I learned as I got older. I check people as a man. I come out here in the streets and check people as a man. I ain't been a gangster. I'm not a gangster. I'm a soldier. I'm not a thug. Listen, I found it more interesting to be a soldier than a thug and a gangster. Soldier, I mean, listen, you know how far that goes? You surviving off the land, you learn how to survive in the wilderness. A thug may not know how to survive in the wilderness. The gangster may die within the first 30 days of being in the wilderness. Birds, reptiles, beasts of the field, spiders of the field, all kind of stuff can kill you. So I found it more interesting to be the full package of a soldier, like the warrior, where I started thinking in terms of surviving off the land and surviving the land and surviving psychologically and understanding psychological warfare. A lot of gangsters don't. A lot of thugs don't. They being left behind because of psychological war, guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare is when they use the whole community against us. This goes all into the message because this is the main struggle, if you don't know, between the two dynasties. You got the silent generation dynasty, which I represent, and you got the baby boomers dynasty, which is the culture, all the black people in the culture. They ain't no silent generation dynasty. They part of the black baby boomer. They part of the black baby boomer dynasty. And now you see what I'm saying. So now you got the righteous dojo and you got the evil dojo. That's what I'm telling you, that's what it is. And the main issue, this is the main issue that separates us. The main issue that separates us is the homosexual and lesbian community issues. The righteous dojo, we can't go with no homosexuality, even though we used to do it. Are they simple-minded? Okay, well, we used to. Keywords, used to. Now you back from the dead as a righteous man. Now I'm a righteous man again. Keep up. You gotta keep up. You gotta keep up. Some of y'all stuck back in 2017 concerning me and what I used to do. Here we are in 2026, almost 10 years later. I'm a righteous man now. Back on my path, back on my square, holding my square down righteously, holding my spiritual square down, right? Keep up, man. I'm back righteous, right? It's not a game. It's not a mask. Listen, I ain't had sex with nobody in what, a whole year? I'm glad to say that. I ain't had sex in a whole year, so who I had sex with? Last time I checked, I haven't had sex in a whole year. Okay. So, what I've been doing? I'm good, buddy. I'm clean. I ain't having sex with nobody. Let alone a man, right? Keep up with me. If you say you follow me, if you say you know me, then keep up with who I am. Come on, that's where they corny at right there. Okay, what they talking about, they know me and everything out in these streets, and they think, oh yeah, we know him, the person he used to be. Well, you don't even, listen, you can't even tell people intelligently what my sexuality is. If you knew me, you would know. Well, we think it is, listen, I think, you know what I think? I have nothing to do with the homosexual community. That's what I think. I have nothing to do with the lesbian community. Lesbians hitting on my wife. Last time I was the time before the last when I was married, hitting on my wife. You think I like lesbians? Let's be human. You think I like lesbians and they was hitting on my wife on purpose? The gang stalkers using lesbians to hit on my wife on purpose, trying to make her feel some sexuality towards women. But the whole issue was what I do in my bedroom, but you didn't see what I did in my bedroom, but then you try to attack the woman that I was using in my bedroom, or being with in my bedroom, who I was with in my bedroom. The woman I was with using sexually in my bedroom, who you know what I mean. When I say use, right? You seen I was with a woman and you did not care. No, this is important. This is important as far as my politics go. As far as I go. They seen I was with a woman and they knew I wasn't with no children. I don't have no problem with confronting what they talk about. You seen I wasn't with no children. You still was playing with me when I was with a woman, apparently, obviously. That's why the war broke out. Because listen, God was watching. God seen that I was with a woman. I used my free will. God didn't break my arm for me to be with a woman. God seen, so let me say it again. Let me say it now how you need to hear it. God seen I was with a woman. Right? He seen I used my free will to be with a woman. You still went out here in these streets as Americans As Americans, you went out here in these streets still talking about, oh well, we think he gay. Oh well, we gonna attack his wife. We gonna attack his woman. She told me what you was doing. You was doing the same thing that you doing to me. You was putting children in her path. She said children were popping out of nowhere. For a woman to say that, a woman now, a female, it had to be gang stalking. Cause the average woman gonna just think, oh well, that's nothing. That's cute children walking around. Men don't really. We don't go around think about children in the community, right? But women kind of do. Oh, there's some cute children over there. Oh, look at the cute children. We don't do that, do we? You as a man, you say, oh, look at the cute children. Maybe when watching TV, I mean, do you go out in the community talking about look at the cute children as a man? A woman does that, right? So my point is, for my wife, my ex-wife, to express that children were popping out and women always talking about look at the cute children, it had to be gang stalking. It had to be extreme. And that's what they do. They use children, and all I needed was for her to say that. This is how I found out gang stalking was real. I looked through the eyes of my wife, all the stuff she was telling me. They sending people to her that look like me, but he got a uniform on, a work uniform, to show him somebody that got money more than the man. We can give you somebody who look like him but got money. That's the insinuation. Man, you think, listen, you dealing with a sensei, buddy. You dealing with a sensei. You dealing with a sensei. You need to hear this. Because I'm trying to bring you up to sensei level. Stop all that student stuff, all that Karate Kid. No, we're Mr. Miyagi. I'm trying to get you into Mr. Miyagi. Yeah, that part. Where you come out of Hollywood studying students, you start studying senseis. Start to mimic senseis and understand senseis and the thought process of senseis and how they deal with society and how they think and how they see stuff, the level they see stuff on. Them sending women to my woman. Yeah, sending women to my woman. I know they was doing that. I know they was sending women to my woman. And the thing about it, as a man, you can't compete with no woman. If they use beautiful women and your woman have any lesbian tendencies, you can't compete with that, buddy. You can't compete. If she got any lesbian tendencies, you're not going to be able to compete with it. You can't compete with women. As a man, you got a beard, mustache, and these women lipstick and all. You a whole different animal, literally. You can't compete with that. This is what they did to me. So I don't even halfway personally on a personal level, I don't even like lesbians. Out of preference. And that's okay. Did you see? It's okay to say you don't like something, right? Or you don't like us. That's okay. Yes, it is okay. It's gonna be okay. I don't know. I do not. Cause they used women against they used gang stalking lesbians against my woman, and I know that because she wasn't thinking about no woman until she interact with these gang stalkers. Now all of a sudden she started expressing lesbian fantasies and things like that, which means they was sending lesbians to her. That's how smart I am. I can know what she went through by what she telling me. Kids popping out of nowhere. What woman gonna say that? Think about it. What woman just gonna say? She probably wouldn't even think about nothing like what that didn't even meant nothing unless it was gang stalking, unless it was something strange about it. You see what I'm saying? When it was something strange about how the children were interacting with her, how the children were popping out, it was something strange about it. It was gang stalking. That's what it was. So you gotta understand, man. Like, and all the gay people that they sent against my path, and I wasn't even with no men no more, right? I'm with women. They sending men against me. They sending all type of men against my life. So I don't prefer them preference-wise, based on gang stalking, if not any other reason. If you're lost for the reason, everybody know why. Even gay people know why. I do not prefer them as a people because of all the gang stalking that they did. When they knew I wasn't with no men. They knew I wasn't. They knew I just left a woman. I had just left a woman. How I'm with men, bruh. And I know you was watching. I know at least gay people was watching. So I know you knew when I came to Charlotte back in October 2024 that I was with a woman the whole time. It doesn't matter how old she was. That's my business. Long as she over 18, that's my business. As long as she over 18, it ain't my business. See, that's where you got corny at right there. Now you're trying to, oh, well, she's too old. Well, who? For who? For you? Oh, must be for you she too old. Listen, man, let me tell you something, man. Y'all became corny. Y'all became cornballs, and that's all there is to it. Now you're trying to look cool like us. Now you're trying to be like us and trying to look good. Nah, you can't do it. You can't look like us. You can't be like us. You can't be cool like us. You played yourself, and now you realize the funky little stinking boiled egg fart situation you in. Your situation smells like a boiled egg fart. Remember how boiled egg farts smell? Your situation smells like a boiled egg fart. When you came out here in these streets playing with my woman, playing with my life, sending gay men to me and sending lesbians to her, but yet you was talking about you think I like children, but you seen me with a woman. See, if you don't know the next stage of my war in my politics, that's what it's about. Everybody seen in New York, I was with a woman. What you mean, so what? So what? That's the whole reality, the contradicting reality of the situation. Where it looks like you contradict yourself, not me. They seen me with a woman and you was a goofy white boy. As a community, as a collective community, you was a goofy white boy thinking you need to see if, well, he still could be doing something, but was I doing something? See how the difference between the black logic and white logic and American logic, but did you see me do something? So all you seen was that I was with a woman, didn't you? Well, that's all. Listen, in the real world I live in, that's as far as you can go. You can't go no further than that. Well, then you got to do it with everybody else. If I see you with a woman, I can't say, well, he might be doing something else. I gotta go with what I see. I can't say, oh, well, he still could be doing, see, that's that white boy stuff. Well, he still could be doing something else. He still could want to be with a children, with a wife. Many people with wives still want to be with children. But did you see it? Is my thing. You didn't see it, did you? That's what I'm talking about, buddy. That's 7 Al. You ain't see it, did you? You ain't see it, did you? And so then you lose. You lose as a community. I ain't playing no games with you, buddy. I'm a grown man over here. And I'm willing to die my position. You ain't willing to die for it. You know why? Because you're a clown. A clown ain't going to be willing to die for monkey business. No, you ain't. That's why you can't get on the same level. That's why you can't ride or slide in this situation as Americans. You can't slide because you ain't willing to die for it. Boy, that's it right there. That's 7 Al. You ain't willing to die for it. That's why you can't slide. That's why you ain't do nothing when I was on the streets. That's why you ain't do nothing when I was in Brooklyn. Because you can't slide for monkey business. You can't slide for being a clown. You can't spin the blocks and do something. Oh, you can spin the block, but you didn't do nothing, did you? You can spin the block, but you didn't do nothing. You spent the block, but you ain't do nothing, though. That's what everybody talking about. Oh, all the times he was out on the street, you ain't do nothing. So then how you gonna act like you spinning the block after that? That's my thing. How you gonna act like you spinning the block after that, bruh? I was just on the streets. I was on the street for 3 months. I left because I'm intolerant. I'm too high ranking to deal with you. That's what it is. I spazzed right there. You go ask him. I said what I needed to say right there when it happened. How I was scared, and I said what I needed to say. I'm intolerant. That's the word. When you rise up in rank, you become intolerant. I just have no tolerance for that lame stuff anymore. I'm burnt out on it. I'm disgusted. I do too much. I'm too high ranking, man. Go try these other people out. I don't saying no, try nobody with the gang stalking, but definitely not me. Definitely not me, bro. I'm talking too much information. I'm too intelligent. I got too much intellectual property that these same people are not producing. These same people cannot produce intellectual property about the generations of the Africans, and the wicked Africans and the righteous Africans. See, I gotta regulate like that. You got to. You leave no room for the devil. You leave no room for these lames. These white boys out here playing video games with the real community, acting like it, and then when we come out there in the streets, all they doing is riding around and just halfway pulling up on us. Well, you know what a half pull-up is? I'm gonna tell you what a half pull-up is. A half pull-up is when you just walk around, they ride around somebody, and then say they act like they pulled up on me. But you ain't get out the car, but you ain't say nothing to me. No, they ain't say nothing to me. You ain't say nothing to me. As Americans, no, these Americans. So then we call that a half pull-up. That's a halfway. You want to go tell people when you went over there and everything like you did something, but you in reality you did nothing. And I wasn't holding you back. I told you that. I wasn't begging for my life. I wasn't bound down either. So then you held back because of somebody else. But I was still talking the same way. I'm still in the same energy. And as you know, listen, for everybody, all these ops and these lames watching this, let me tell you something. You know, this is the same energy I had in the middle of the night, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, making videos just like this with this type of energy and walking through it. Walking around everything after I said this. Making videos in Brooklyn and then walking outside and everything. Putting the right messages out there so people can see me for who I am. The good people can see me for who I am. But then I'm still saying I still got the same energy for those who deserve it, right? Listen, man. Ask Brooklyn did not pull up on people and walk up on people and see what they wanted. Ask Brooklyn did I pull up on people like more than one time. Go ask Brooklyn. Go ask Brooklyn. Go ask Brooklyn on Utica Avenue. When I walked up to the Jewish man and asked him what he said, huh? And how the block was sitting back like, whoa. Go ask the people that was in front of the club on Utica Avenue when I walked up on them and they talking about he psycho, he crazy. Nah, I ain't crazy. I just came up on. I pulled up. You act like you wanted a problem. I pulled up on them. Man, listen. Go ask them people that was in front of the club and you on Utica Avenue in Brooklyn. Go ask them what they say. Oh, he's psycho. Oh, they said they probably remember. They'll probably remember that. But I do, right? Man, come on. That's Brooklyn, man. Think about that. How you gonna have Tyvola, South Charlotte trying me? Because they want fame, they want respect, they want stuff, and you can't get it all from me. These days, ain't nobody gonna give you no respect off of somebody like me. How? Everybody already trying them. How you gonna get respect like that? You gonna have to. The only way you can get respect is if you do something I done. That's what the big dog's gonna tell you. You got to do what I do. If you don't do what I do, how you gonna get respect? I done been to Brooklyn. I done been to California. I done been to Florida. I done been through this in North Carolina, right here where I'm at. How these gang stalkers, I'm talking specifically to them, how these gang stalkers, these little clowns out here, man, come on, man, how me and you on the same level is what I'm trying to show you. You did so much to me that you can't find somebody to do the same thing to you to give you the same level of respect. Did you hear what I said? You can't find, you done so much to me, you can't find somebody to do the same thing to y'all to give you the same level of respect that I got for what you put me through. That's how stupid you is. Now, back to my regularly scheduled program. No, you need to hear it, man. You need to hear it, because listen, you need to hear how masters spaz. You need to hear how masters take care of these people out here, gang stalking and playing games with real ones. Playing with real ones. Man, you can't, listen. Like I said, I ain't saying you should be going to anybody playing with anybody. But at least some lames like y'all, just at least some suckers. Listen, that's all I can say. That's all I can say. But playing with me is a game you don't want to play, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's not a game you want to play. Okay, so we ain't even letting y'all think it's me. It's a me and them type of situation. It ain't a me and them type. It never have been. It went to me against the Americans. That's what it went. That's what I've been on for how long? What, 7 years? I ain't never just solely singled out this community like I'm just thinking about them, and I'm just, see, that's how some people are. And I hate this, I'm keeping 100. It's a lot of targeted individuals that are from white America that obsess over these people and everything they do. I'm not one of them people. I'm not obsessing over everything they do, every little move. That's not where I'm coming from. Right? I ain't gonna never give them that much time, that undivided attention that they want. Where I'm obsessing their every video, I'm talking about them and everything like that. It ain't gonna work. That's not me. That's never gonna be me. Okay, so me and you, listen, you can be cool all day long, because these days you got a different type of cool where these people are cool by culture and all this stuff going on with this culture stuff. Me, that's two different lanes from me and you. They're not parallel. Just cause you're cool out here, these gay people cool and smoking weed and they cool, these lesbians cool, you cool, but you ain't got street principles. If you had street principles, you wouldn't be out here. That's how we know. You wouldn't be out here playing with me. You wouldn't be. You wouldn't be playing with a black man. That's how we know you on the baby boomer side. I'm on the silent generation. I'm on the silent generation side. So what I'm trying to show these rappers and the culture, listen, from this day forward, what's the day? October 20, I said October. August 9th. August 9th, 2026. You gotta choose your side, man. You gotta choose your side of who you with. Will you be perfect? No. But you ain't gonna be out here playing with no black man. You ain't gonna be out here playing with your own people. You ain't gonna be out here playing in the face of your own people on some Ozzy Osbourne kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? You know the type. On some Ozzy Osbourne, the black people that get with the rock and roll. I listen to all type of rock and roll in the past. But I ain't come out here like I'm brand new on black people like these gang stalkers did. Like they can come out here and play with us because you listen to Ozzy Osbourne and you part of the rock community and you think you're more special than us because you listen to rock and roll. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? You know what type of vibe I'm talking about. They think they're more unique, right, because of that. Listen, you could think all that stuff, but you're not with us. And I'm going to tell you that's just how it is. You know, this, whether you work witchcraft, you are the secret society, this is perfect leading up to a perfect punchline. You are on the baby boomers generation side, and I don't think you know because you couldn't possibly have known. There's two dynasties in the African American community, not one. We're not all in the same dynasty. Okay? We have the baby boomers dynasty and the silent generation dynasty. You that work witchcraft against black people, it got to be on the baby boomers generation dynasty. You're not with us. This is the tragedy that happened. The tragedy that happened is that most black people went with the baby boomers dynasty generation as far as mentality and actions and activity. And the silent generation dynasty was at a standstill for the most part. We've been less effective because of the appeal of the baby boomers dynasty generation. The music, the culture, all of that appeals. The last time the silent generation dynasty had the music in their grips was probably around the Marvin Gaye time, the James Brown time. You could say James Brown was part of the silent generation dynasty. You could say Marvin Gaye was part of the silent generation dynasty. You can say Stevie Wonder is part of the silent generation dynasty. See, now I'm giving you some faces. As far as the culture, as far as the music, besides the leaders, like Louis Farrakhan and these different leaders, Al Sharpton. Now I'm giving you cultural leaders, cultural musicians that are on the side of the silent generation dynasty. Stevie Wonder's always going to put out a great message. Marvin Gaye always put out a great message. James Brown ultimately stood for black people. I'm black and I'm proud. Them type of songs, man, that was really that was the paramount of musical silent generation dynasty. I'm black and I'm proud. That's what made people take pride in being black, right? That's the silent generation dynasty. And if you don't know, and if you still hung up on if I'm black, right? You got people that's crazy, man. And it ain't even black people, it's other white people. They retarded, man. Like, they'll look at you, we don't think he's black. I don't think you're black. Listen, I'm 52% Nigerian. Now, if you was as smart as you claim to be, you would realize if you're 52% Nigerian, then you're more than half Nigerian, which means, because it's over 50%, which means whatever else you are, you're more African than anything else. Half and half is 50, 49, and 51, something like that. I said 52, right? 52%, that's more than half. I'm more African than anything else. Makes sense? Makes sense to a smart person, right? Okay. So, I just got to get the goofiness out the way. Because they'll act like, well, you're halfway black talking about these things. Am I? I can prove by DNA why the people you hang with can't prove by DNA that they African. They can't prove it by DNA, but you talking about they black. Well, we don't know. We don't know what they are. They could be Southern Pacific people, Island Pacific people, down in the islands of the South Pacific. How we know? That's real, though. That's real. You really don't know until you prove it with your DNA. When you prove it with your DNA, now we know. Because like I explained, man, listen, if you don't know what type of African you are, I outrank you. How you more African than me, but you don't even know what type of African you are? Make it make sense. Well, if you cared about it so much, why you ain't go check your DNA? When you spending $200 on DoorDash at one time, flexing, spending $200 on DoorDash, you could have spent less than $100 and bought your DNA kit and could have had it over with. You only got to do it one time in your life. So my challenge to you is, if you call yourself so African, you think you so African, so African, if you so African, then why don't you go get your DNA check so you can prove it and talk about it intelligently? I can talk about my DNA intelligently. I can talk about me being African intelligently. If you went to Africa, you couldn't even tell them what tribe you came from. You couldn't even tell them what type of African you are. If you talk to an African chief, the first thing he gonna ask you, if you from America, if you're African American, okay, what tribe you come from? What country is your family from? You're talking to an African sensei, right? What country you come from? What country your people come from? What would you say? Oh, well, I don't know. You'll talk about all the stuff you heard from your family. That's all you're going to talk about. Me, if a sensei in Africa asks me what tribe I come from, I'm gonna be able to tell him I'm 52% Nigerian. Just that alone, he gonna say, oh, you're mostly Nigerian. You're basically not Nigerian. You're more Nigerian than anything else. Yeah. So I'm Nigerian, right? You can't tell people that you're Nigerian. You think you're Nigerian. Well, you got to go find out. That part, you got to go find out, don't you? Until you do, I outrank you. You understand that? You understand what real men think about? No, these are the issues that are in between these two dynasties. Half of the baby boomers dynasty don't even know what tribe they come from. What tribe you come from? Talk about it intelligently. Well, I'm Nigerian. What are you? You don't know. You don't know what tribe you come from. So if you're a man, you've been with your woman the whole time, and you can't tell her intelligently what tribe you come from. Your woman never even knew what tribe you come from. Think about that. That's for all these black men out here. Listen, that should be the best challenge to challenge you right there. Your woman don't even know what man she making love to. Well, I think he's African American. Well, we know he's African American, but what tribe of African he come from? What country do his bloodline come from? You can't even tell your woman what tribe of African you are. Think about that. You can't even, listen, if you're a woman, you can't even tell them what tribe you come from. I can. And if you were really pro-black as you claim to be, it would matter to you. It would matter. Oh, all this whole time, your woman don't know where the penis come from. Well, it's African American penis. So you can't tell us Nigerian penis. You can't tell us Ethiopian penis. No, this is a grown man conversation. This is not carnal. This is not that. This is a grown man conversation. Listen, you can't tell her the penis came from Nigeria or Ethiopia. You can't tell her, can you? So she been making love with you this whole time. She don't know where the penis come from. Your woman been making love to you and she don't know where the penis come from. Your man been making love to you. Where it come from? Where the vagina come from? You don't know, do you? That's what I'm talking about. See, I can tell my woman, when I do get another woman, I'm from Nigeria. This is Nigerian penis. This is a Nigerian man. I'm dominantly Nigerian. I'm 52% Nigerian. I'm also Maasai, from East African. Maasai, Nigerian, General African, and General West African, and Sierra Leone. I'm 4 different types of African. Nigerian, Sierra Leone, Maasai, and General West African. I know exactly what type of African I am. That's how I outrank you. You see what I'm saying? I outrank you, bro. I outrank these females, these black females trying to challenge me like out here in these streets like I'm a man, like they a man. I outrank these dudes out here in the street. You don't even know what type of African you are, but you talking about you standing up for your people. Stop playing with me. That's a 7 hour. Go find out who you are first. See, to be a sensei, it's no way you could be a sensei with all this technology and all this stuff around you, but you as a sensei never felt the need to go find out who you are, to go do your DNA. See, your mind ain't on the mindset of a sensei. I know who I am, but you can't play it like you're a sensei now, and you don't do what senseis do. A sensei is first step is self-awareness. Who am I? So now I can use my vibration and spirituality, aware of all my bloodlines, aware of what level of intelligence I'm dealing with. It's no secret. I'm part Asian too, right? I'm part Filipino, which means I'm part Asian. I never knew that. So now I don't let people critique me according to a black vibration when I'm not just black vibration, I'm also Filipino, which means my ancestors was Chinese. I can prove that with my bloodline, right? So now it makes sense how I carry myself, how I talk, how I think, how I look at people, everything, how I carry myself, my whole demeanor. But if you don't know that you're part Chinese, part Filipino, they'll make you look like you crazy out here. But I can't be totally African, but I'm African. I'm part Filipino. And their ancestors came from South China. Here's the understanding of I know I educated myself on the Filipino people. The Filipinos started out in South China. They are Chinese. They started out in South China. The ancestors of the Filipinos. They started out in South China, and then they went to Taiwan. From Taiwan, then they went to the Philippines. Okay, so I'm part Chinese. Now, can you imagine my whole life if I being that I wasn't self-aware, that I would let other Africans critique me when I was kind of quirky and I was off, or I look weird to them, and I'm part Chinese. I'm supposed to act different. See, so the master, the sensei, understands, okay, once I realize now that I'm Chinese, now I see why I don't carry myself totally like everybody else. You see what I'm saying? See, but if you wasn't aware of yourself, you would try to fit into you would be a square trying to fit into a triangle. You don't know who you are. As far as your bloodlines. Now you go check your bloodlines. Oh, I'm Filipino. I'm Asian. I didn't know I was Asian. That was the biggest shock, is Asian. And I'm part Latino. I'm part Peruvian. I didn't know I was part Latino. I'm part Peruvian, Mesoamerican, Andine, from the Peruvian area. I can prove that with my DNA, that I'm part South American. Right? Okay, see, I didn't know that. So now I understand everything about me, my whole vibration. I'm part black, white, Latino, and Asian. Now I know. So now I begin self-mastery, understanding my vibration, and understanding how to move my vibration properly without it being critiqued as malfunction according to another vibration. Because you'll look malfunction according to another vibration, right? And then they realize, oh, he's part Asian, he's part Latino. Oh, we didn't know that. Oh, he can prove it by bloodline. He can prove it by DNA. That's the difference. The difference is I can prove it. I can pull it up and prove it. That part, right? Okay, so he's part black, white, Asian, Latino. Okay. That's why he can talk junk about everybody. That's why he can talk junk about everybody, right? Well, it feels more comfortable when everybody know you're black, white, Hispanic. You're black, white, Latino, and Asian. I ain't got on the Asians yet, have I? They ain't gave me no reason to. Not really. They ain't gave me no reason to really. They too wise to play around for no reason off of folklore. That's what I think. They too wise to do that. They ain't gonna be part of no little dumb monkey business that these white folks and these black folks and these other people, many Hispanic and Latinos done been a part of. Asian people ain't gonna be part of that. No. They too wise to make that mistake. They're too far removed from our culture to be part of that, something like that. Yeah. You know. So the generations have changed. The generations have changed. And that's why we got this gang stalking going on against Christians. If you don't know why they gang stalking us now and they hate Christians now, is because they're learning from the younger generation. Okay? You got two dynasties. The tragedy is that we did not follow the silent generation dynasty. We didn't follow them. We followed the baby boomer dynasty as far as mentality towards each other, mentality, worldviews, movements, everything, what have you. You know, our whole makeup became influenced by the baby boomer dynasty. We were supposed to be influenced by the parents of the baby boomers dynasty, which was the silent generation. We went basically with the children instead of the fathers and the mothers. There was two dynasties side by side. I'm showing you, like, this is like Star Wars in the world of black people. And see, some people couldn't articulate black community as in the world of Star Wars. So what it is the silent generation dynasty and the baby boomers dynasty. That's the Star Wars story, legend among black people. You see now you see the context. You either go with the silent generation dynasty or the dark side, which is the baby boomers dynasty. Oh, it's fair because they make up most of the destruction. It got to be fair when they made up most of the destruction. The baby boomers made up most of the destruction. It's fair to say that's the dark side. And we all dipped and dabbed with it. You know what I'm saying? Some more than others. And that's what we have to admit. Some more than others, we dipped and dabbed with the baby boomers dynasty. You either win with one or the other. And being that we was a minority and most of the baby boomers dynasty was on TV and in movies and music, we went with that. The righteous Africans wasn't really doing nothing on TV. We wasn't doing nothing in music. I mean, gospel music, yeah, we was. You know, that influenced the people as far as the silent generation dynasty. People influenced by the silent generation dynasty because we are. You know, as Christians, as righteous people, we are influenced by Malcolm X and MLK and the things they said and the things they done. So even us as Christians that's here, that's black, we're influenced by the silent generation dynasty. Okay? But we, as the righteous Africans, we really wasn't out on TV. We wasn't out in the music really, except for gospel. And so most black people, what they gonna go with? What they see, success, the famous. And most of the famous, and this is how you need to hear it, I'm glad I got to say this, most of the famous was the baby boomers dynasty. And it wasn't all bad, don't get me wrong. It wasn't all bad, but most of it began to be bad after the 80s. The baby boomers dynasty began to go into tragedy after the 80s with the whole culture. It's no way to dissect the baby boomers dynasty from the culture, the present culture that we have, especially. And they led the culture the whole time, basically, because it wasn't the righteous Africans. It wasn't even I think the silent generation dynasty started to, cease to influence the culture and be a part of the culture ultimately, collectively, after the likes of Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, you know, the Sade's, the Anita Bakers. That all represents the silent generation dynasty. And you will have people that's influenced by the baby boomers dynasty that still, they have a preference for the Sade's and the Anita Bakers of the silent generation dynasty. So they still hold them in high reverence. However, we don't have the same worldviews. We don't have the same activity. We don't feel the same about our people. And so we can't act like we're all one people. We have been broken down to two empires. The silent generation empire and the baby boomers empire. The baby boomers generation empire. That's two empires. See, when you break it down to generation, now you can understand everything. But if you just say our people, that's why it's confusion. It's vague as a perspective and worldview. You got different generations. So you got some that go with the mentality of Sade, and you got some that go with the mentality of Beyonce. You know, insinuating indirectly promiscuous sex, you know, and Beyonce don't represent monogamy. She don't represent monogamous relationship. That's not how she's perceived. She's perceived as like the diva dancing around. When a married woman, by a righteous man's standard, shouldn't be shaking her butt and dancing around in front of everybody. Imagine a righteous man see his wife dancing around like that. He ain't gonna agree with that. You agree with most? Let's keep it real. Most black men, if you walked into a house, let's just say you got off early, right? And your wife is in the house with these dudes, and she dancing like Beyonce, out not dancing with nobody, but she in the middle of the floor dancing like Beyonce. You and her ain't gonna talk later? Of course you are. You and her gonna have a powwow, maybe even right there. You gonna take her in the room and have a powwow, ain't you? Baby, what's going on? Why you dancing all in front of everybody like that? You tripping. You listen, most black men, I'm telling you how we think is worldviews. We can look at all that stuff Beyonce do, but we ain't gonna let our wife do none of that. We ain't gonna let our wife dress like that, and we ain't gonna let our wife dance like that. Let's keep it real. That's 7 hours. Oh man, come on. I know black man mentality. You ain't letting your woman walk around dressed like no Beyonce. You know you ain't. You ain't letting your wife walk around dancing like Beyonce, dancing in front of everybody like Beyonce. You gonna let her do that? As a black man, you not. I know that. So you got people that are influenced by Beyonce and how they carry themselves as a woman. Then you got people that's influenced by Anita Baker, Sade, you know what I'm saying, them type of women. You ain't never seen Sade shaking her butt and everything like that. And everybody find her more attractive than Beyonce just as a whole human being. As a whole human being, Sade is more attractive than Beyonce. Ain't no man gonna say no different. They find her more intriguing than Beyonce. Come on, you know that. Come on, let's be honest. Let's keep it 100. You find her more intriguing, don't you? She's more mysterious. See, that's a quality, by the way. A lot of women don't have that quality of mystery. Sade is a mysterious woman, right? She's more mysterious. See, at the top, it's nothing personal. It's just that at the top, you're going to be compared to other people. You're going to be compared against other. That's what comes with it. You can't be at the top and not be compared to nobody. Even if you're a basketball player, you think out of what you might think is respect, nobody ain't gonna compare you. If you LeBron, they ain't gonna compare you to Jordan. Of course they gonna do that. It comes with the territory. Like Biggie, what Biggie say? More money, more problems, right? You know what the other problems are? You being compared to other people. You're gonna be compared to other people. People gonna put you at the top and say you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. That's what comes with it. And if people at the top are smart, they already know that. That's what comes with it. You're gonna be subject to all type of examination because you're supposed to be the model. You the top, then people gonna say you the model. Okay, you don't think black people gonna pick apart the model? How we are and how we think? Come on, you know they are, bro. You know they are. So, that's just me showing people it's nothing personal. You at the top. That's just what it is. And people look to you as in your success says this is what we approve of. So then people gonna critique what black people approve of. Through that success, we know they approve of it, right? And black people gonna break down that success that's approved by black people. That approval brings success, and people gonna pick it apart. That's just what comes with it. It's just how you do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm only doing it for one way of showing you for many different reasons. I'm doing it for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? And I'm doing it for all the real reasons. And I'm showing you reality. This is reality, by the way. Besides, examining somebody, this is the reality of the whole situation. People follow Beyonce mentality or Sade's mentality. You know what I'm saying? Those two different dynasties, they not one and the same. Even though Beyonce, Sade, and Jay-Z made a song, that's a perfect example. Those are night and day difference. No pun intended. Because when the song called The Moon and the Stars or something like that, it's night and day difference between those two dynasties. That's not the same dynasty, no matter how hard they try. That's why Sade ain't all with them like that. I'm not saying she don't support them. I'm not saying she feel exactly how I feel. But the dynasties are real. You know what I'm saying? But she might, but the bottom line is you don't see her with them. You don't see Sade with the baby boomers dynasty. And I'm sure she has her reasons. I'm sure she has her reasons, man. You know what I'm saying? What image she trying to project? She has a prestige, immaculate image and character and morality in catalog, and she has to be ever careful, you know what I'm saying, not to co-sign certain foolishness, you know what I'm saying. So you got people that don't know how to support all people without alliance. Not her, I'm just saying in general. People don't know how to support black people without giving them alliance, and I'm showing you what you didn't know. It's the righteous Africans and the wicked Africans. That's common sense, you would think. But a lot of people don't see it that way. See, back in the day, the righteous Africans was with the church. I mean, with the community. Like the preachers would come and be with these civil rights movements and things like that, things to that nature. You have people invite the preachers. They stopped inviting us, didn't they? Of course they did. So now they got movements like Black Lives Matter with no preachers. They got movements like Black Lives Matter with no prophets, no spiritual people on top of it. See, back in the day, if you had Black Lives Matter, you would have spiritual people incorporated into that on a higher level. Like, let's say for modern day example, you have Bishop Jakes, TD Jakes, going to hooked up with Black Lives Matter. Them inviting him to do messages, you know what I'm saying? People like that. Creflo Dollar, people like that. See, don't that feel right for the silent generation? See, the silent generation would have been inviting, Creflo Dollar, Bishop Jakes, because they still had the same moral system. The people, the collective community was influenced by the silent generation at that time, during the civil rights time, during the civil rights movement times. The overall black community was influenced by the silent generation dynasty. And then by the 80s, when you got rap music, you got drugs, you got gang banging, and then we started going after those images of what we wanted to project ourselves as, then people started being influenced and fell up under the baby boomers generation and dynasty. They fell up under that baby boomers dynasty generation. And it's no other way to look at it. I mean, that's what I'm trying to show you. People that create any type of other information, this is solid prophetic information. It's no way you can create another reality besides this. It's two generations, it's two empires. The silent generation dynasty and the baby boomers generation dynasty. It's nothing else. It's nothing else. I mean, when you really look at everything for what it is, it was nobody that came after that. No other generation that came after that was like Malcolm X, MLK. You see what I'm saying? So when you look back, we didn't get better. Make sense? We didn't get better. Here, when you look back and you see how they thought, we didn't get better in this present time and with the generations now. So then that has to be the best generation. The silent generation was the best generation, and there became a split in mentality, and that became the tragedy. We were supposed to progress the silent generation dynasty. We were supposed to progress their message, the message of Malcolm X, MLK. The baby boomers was their children. They was their children, and they were supposed to progress the silent generation dynasty. But the baby boomers, when they met crack cocaine and the music and everything like that, they began to create their own dynasty. So basically, in the world of Star Wars, basically the baby boomer generation were the children that were supposed to progress Malcolm X message, MLK message. Mind you, all baby boomers was in K through 12 when Malcolm X and MLK was out doing their messages. They were literally children in school. The baby boomer generation, they were in school. If you look at K through 12, the ages during Malcolm X and MLK time, all the children K through 12 in grade school was the baby boomers generation, the next generation, which would be the baby boomer generation. So you can put two together. If Malcolm X is out there, he's a certain age, then the children have to be the next generation. Make sense? And that next generation was the baby boomers generation. See, they were supposed to be the students of Malcolm X and MLK. That's the tragedy. They did not become the students because once the leaders of the silent generation dynasty was assassinated, then they began to have no leaders. That was the first tragedy. The first tragedy was the assassinations of MLK and Malcolm X that led to the split. Once they were assassinated, black people lost heart and lost their way, and they began to basically, I think, naturally form their own dynasty because there was no more leaders from that generation. So then people up and coming in their prime began to do music, began to do culture, began to do arts, and they became the leaders. Just naturally, being in their prime, pursuing their dreams, pursuing their music, acting, whatever have you. They became the leaders after MLK and Malcolm X, because we didn't have no follow-up from that generation. So that dynasty, basically, the top of that dynasty died with the assassination of MLK and Malcolm X. That was the first tragedy. And then when they died, we mourned, their children mourned, through drugs and going into the streets. So see, that's the natural, innocent reality of what happened, is that they lost heart when the leaders died. It ain't just that they just went into drugs. They just went into forming their own situation. So then you have to blame America. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's a links. It's all links. You have to blame America for the assassinations, especially of MLK and Malcolm X. Ultimately, that began to take the innocence from our people, because Malcolm X was killed by black people. That's what I personally believe. So that began the mentality of the baby boomer generation. That was the nucleus where we started killing each other. You know what I'm saying? That you could say the person that assassinated Malcolm X was like one of the fathers of black on black crime, if that makes sense. He was one of the persons that started that mentality through reality of killing each other. Like just having that mindset, not to look at the fact that he black, not looking at who he was. They should have looked at who he was. They went past that. That was the first person that really went past looking at the fact that this person is special, this person is black, and they still killed him. So that's the beginning. That mentality was taken into the black baby boomers dynasty mentality. They don't care how special Tupac was. They don't care how special Biggie was. That all started with the assassination of Malcolm X. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand higher psychology. You got to understand energy too. Whether it became a psychology after that to kill our own people, it was a reality of that existed, where our own people did do it, and that was the energy. That energy, you can't explain how it moves and how it was cultivated to a whole people, but it ultimately was. And it began there. And then hip hop, you see the timeline. Hip hop began to influence us also to kill our own people and everything like that. And ultimately, we didn't care how special people were. We didn't care if they were good for our community. See, with the silent generation dynasty, we cherished people that were special. With the baby boomers dynasty, they don't care. They hold you by the same rules and regulations out in the streets. That's why they didn't care what they did to Pac. That's why they didn't care what they did to Biggie. See, back in the day, people might have took that butt whipping from Pac, at that casino. They might have, that's Tupac, I'm gonna let it happen. I don't care. I got beat up by Tupac, oh well. Biggie got beef, oh well. They too special for us to do anything to them. See, that's how black people would have been humble back in the day. But now, they don't care how special you are. They'll take you away. That's why they attacked me as the prophet. They didn't care. They put an STD in my body on purpose. Black people did it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? And that's the history. That's the history. They put it down in Fort Lauderdale. They set me up with a person, the Freemasons, the black Freemasons in the black community. They was all aware that they set me up with this person that had an STD. Okay? And it was a type of an attempt of an assassination, but I survived. I survived an attempt on my life, because ultimately they wanted me to just get that and probably think about killing myself or whatever, and that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So that was an attempt on my life that has to be acknowledged. It's history. It's what it is. It's not biased to how I feel about them. It's what it was. It's history. You know what I'm saying? So history is unbiased. And we have to talk about history, and where people are biased, we can't, when it comes to history, history is history. What's real is what's real, and that's what happened. Whether I feel good about you today or not, that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just like, the mentality became the baby boomer dynasty mentality. And once we lost our main key leaders, the students that were supposed to be recipients of that movement of Malcolm X and MLK, the next generation was baby boomers. You realize that, right? They was the ones that were supposed to take the information of Malcolm X and take it to the next level and progress it. They were supposed to progress. You see what I'm saying, right? They were supposed to progress Malcolm X information, MLK information, and take it to the next level. Things we can't even imagine. We don't even know what they could have done, because we ain't see it. So it's hard to even imagine what the students of Malcolm X and MLK would have done. with that information and how they would have progressed that information and progressed America and progressed black people. I don't think people realize that we did not go into the direction that we were supposed to go, starting with the assassinations of MLK and Malcolm X. We didn't go in the right direction. We were supposed to go that way, right? As a whole mentality, as a whole people. And because hip hop hit so hard, and the culture and the things like that hit so hard, we think we made it. We didn't make it. We were supposed to follow MLK and Malcolm X. Now you see what I'm talking about. We were supposed to follow their mentality and progress this community. We would have been further along. We probably would have had more businesses, more things on our own, more black-owned things, more black-owned opportunities, more land in America. We would have had more property in America. That's the main thing we would have had. More money, more businesses, and more property, following the silent dynasty generation mentality. And see, ultimately, that's what we played ourselves, because we say we got the money, but if we would have went with the silent dynasty, the silent generation dynasty, we would have had more than money. We would have had, what you need more than money is property. Money with no property is nothing. Money with no real land for your people. We're the only people that don't really have no land. You got Chinese, they got Chinatown. That's their land. Ain't nobody, that's their land in America. Every race got their land but us. Hispanic and Latinos, they got their own neighborhoods outside of poverty. That's their own. They got their own restaurants. They got their own. I seen it. I lived in New York. I lived all around this country. They have their own land. We never got our own land. And I really believe that really it was because we didn't have our key leaders from the silent generation dynasty to survive into the future. We would have had our own land, just like the Chinese, like the Mexicans and Latinos. We would have had our own land. We don't got our own land. We only identify with poverty. You say a black neighborhood. What's a black neighborhood? Poverty. What's a Chinese neighborhood in America? Chinatown. It's not associated with poverty. Anytime you talk about a black neighborhood, it's associated with poverty. You talk about a Mexican neighborhood, that's not associated with poverty. Why we say we black and brown, ask people what's the definition of a Hispanic or Latino neighborhood. It's not poverty in America. It's not poverty. It's restaurants more than anything. And I'm not trying to be funny, but it's restaurants. It's their own businesses. You go into their neighborhood, they got their own business. How that's poverty? When black people don't work there, white people don't work there for the most part. They got their own neighborhoods. You hear me? They got their own neighborhoods. They got their own restaurants. How is that poverty? That ain't poverty. Somehow you thought that we lived the same experience as them, and they got their own land, they got their own restaurants, and how is that poverty? That's not poverty. We the only ones as black, as a race of people that still identify with poverty as far as our geographics and infrastructures of our community. Show me another community that identifies with poverty in America with all these opportunities. That's what you should be looking at, all these opportunities. Show me another race of people that identify with poverty besides us. Chinese don't identify with no poverty. The Chinese was the wisest man. He fed everybody and put his head down. Everybody eat Chinese food. He was here. He could say, I fed your families. You look him in the eyes, he could say, I fed your families. How can you hurt me? I fed your children. I fed your family. He was the wisest man in America, besides the Native American. The Native American was the most innocent man. He ain't do nothing to nobody. Even to this day, he ain't killing his own people. We the only ones doing that. He ain't killing his own people. The Native American man is the most innocent man in this country. The wisest man is the Chinese that fed everybody. He fed all of us. You can't hate them. They gave us goods. They did stuff for us that you didn't even realize. As a kid, how much stuff you had that was called made in China, that had made in China on it. Made in China, made in China. We done had a whole bunch of Chinese goods, and we wasn't paying attention to that. We didn't pay attention to how many Chinese goods we had as kids, how much Chinese food we ate as kids. And the Chinese man, the real senseis, guess what he looking at? I fed your people. You can't say I was really on the white man's side. I fed your people. How many times I fed black people? But how many times you fed me? You didn't feed me nothing. That's what the Chinese man goes, I don't eat your food. If I wanted to eat what you eat, I cook it my way. So I fed collectively, Chinese people fed us. We didn't feed them. We didn't do nothing for them. What we do for Chinese people? We've been emulating Chinese people since martial arts. Why you think everybody want to be like us? I can show you Chinese people didn't. Black people emulated Chinese people first through martial arts. White people did it too. Everybody emulated the Chinese man first. You didn't realize that, did you? Martial arts, all these people wanted to be just like them. Wah, woo, wah, wah, all that. They wanted to be just like Chinese people. When hip-hop came on the scene, that's when you could say the younger generations of some Chinese people wanted to be like black people. But the first emulation, as far as real history, was the black people wanted to be like Chinese people through martial arts. And keep in mind, like I said, we ate their food and they ain't never ate our food. Look at the rank of the Chinese man. You know he ain't no dummy. This is senseis and everything, buddy. He fed us first, and we emulated him through martial arts. We emulated the Asians through karate, which is the Japanese, and through kung fu, which is the Chinese. We emulate, even your greatest group in hip hop is what? Wu-Tang. What Wu-Tang emulates? Asian people. Let's keep it 100. They emulate the Chinese. They emulate the Chinese specifically, right? Your greatest group is Wu-Tang, and they emulate the Chinese. Wu-Tang wouldn't be nothing what they was if they didn't emulate martial arts and Chinese martial arts. You could say martial arts is in every community.